Welcome back to Chasing Brighter, the podcast created as a guide to living brighter, more connected, and real. This season, we are choosing real over perfect.
This month on Chasing Brighter, we're exploring what it means to organize your life in a way that supports who you actually are, not who you think you should be. We're talking about letting go of identities and roles you've outgrown, organizing your life around energy instead of expectations, and building simple systems that work in real life, not Instagram life, because choosing real over perfect isn't about doing more. It's about just aligning better.
And don't forget, you can explore your organizational type with our free quiz when you join our Thrive Guide newsletter at chasingbrighter.com.
You know, Jess, choosing real over perfect sounds simple, but sometimes it means letting go of things that we worked really hard to become.
Yeah. And today we're talking about something tender, which is what are you holding on to that you've already outgrown?
I'm really excited to talk about this topic. And really, we want to start with when we think about this is one of the things that we talk about in this first segment of this episode is that we don't just clutter closets. So when we think about clutter, we think about physical stuff.
Yeah. But really today we're talking about emotional clutter, right? Emotional clutter is heavier. It's identities, roles, old versions of ourselves.
It's the good girl or the strong one or the fixer or the overachiever.
Or even dreams that made sense 10 years ago, but they feel exhausting now. And, we want to talk a little bit about signs that you've outgrown something. And then we want to talk about what we've outgrown, right? What we're letting go of and the clutter that we are letting go of, right? So
Yeah.
Here are some signs that you may have outgrown something and you are ready to let it go. You feel resentment, but you can't explain why. You feel drained in spaces you used to love. You keep saying, this is just who I am, but that feels tight. You fantasize about quitting something, even if you know you won't.
And, sometimes we outgrow even coping strategies too. Perfectionism might have protected you at one time, maybe even overfunctioning might have kept things stable.
Yeah. And, what helped you survive may not help you thrive. It may be weighing you down now. I have been studying internal family systems theory. Our dear and late cousin Sophia Lyon talked about it on our podcast a few years ago, and I was so intrigued. I studied more about it. I'm currently in a training on it. I'm reading a book about it. And internal family systems theory, I'm going to try to make it super simple. It's basically we have all these parts of ourselves that were created during childhood, and we have ourself. We have the self. And the goal is to have, so I like to think about it like a car, driving a car. And the goal is to have yourself driving the car. Yourself is compassionate and curious and caring. And we have these manager roles that try to protect us from pain when we were children. And we have the reactor roles who, after pain has happened, then they hurry up and they don't want us to feel that pain anymore. Okay. And so perfectionism may be driving the car right now. I think for me, the overfunctioner was driving the car, locked the self in the trunk, and anybody else that tried to get in my way, we locked in the trunk of the car. And so it is about exploring all of these maybe dysfunctional parts of yourself. And sometimes I tell my clients, listen, sometimes the overachiever and overfunctioner, you're in a part of life where you need to get shit done. And you get that overachiever in the car because you got to get through this next week. And so it's not like the parts are good or bad and we want to get rid of them. And so I love that thinking of looking at that through today, right? What are some of our parts that maybe shouldn't be driving anymore because the self can be driving right now, right? Because we're safe now. And I don't know if I made any sense there.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I would love that idea of but it's the untangling of that,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's the real challenge. And today, what we want to talk about is sort of starting that untangle in some way where we think about like, what am I doing that maybe is no longer serving me?
Yeah.
And it's sort of like bringing you closer to yourself, right? Who
Yeah.
you
Hmm.
truly are.
It's freeing. Like you can't thrive if it's weighing you down like an anchor. So we want to like cut all the ropes.
Yeah. And I mean, it's definitely for me, coping strategies is what really resonates in terms of like things that I've done that I've used to survive so far, but now where I am doesn't work. And, I think this episode has really caused us to reflect, right, on a
Hmm.
lot of those things and not necessarily in a way that we have before. So,
Yeah. Hmm.
when I think about, something that I've outgrown, in terms of really me looking at this, one of the things is that, or that I need to kind of outgrow, is analysis paralysis. So we are in a
Mm.
world that there is so much information, and I spend so much time analyzing to make sure I'm making the very best decision. And I spend a lot of time thinking about decisions. And that is really great in some ways, but like it's really not worth probably the amount of time I spend on it.
Yeah.
And so I definitely think that's one thing I need to think about, where maybe figuring out ways for me to like not optimize every single decision I make, which also read on this is like even going to ChatGPT. What's the best pair of socks? What's the best this? What's the best that? And like,
Yeah.
it doesn't need to always be that way. And I probably have gotten a little overboard.
And I love, so I'm going to try not to be like a super nerd about the parts work because, like, I'm so excited about this. But there is a part called the overanalyzer, overthinker. And so I think if some of the things we're talking about letting go of today, when we look at it in a compassionate, caring way, there are times in our lives where we needed this part and we don't want to get rid of this
Yeah.
part.
Yes.
And so when we talk about, if you're thinking closet clutter, you know, and so the overthinker is just like spilled out all over the place. And so it's like we want to like pack up the overthinker and like put it in a little shoebox and have it there because we need that
It
sometimes, right?
has its
That's
place. Yes.
yes, but we don't need it's like getting in the way of you thriving, right? Because then you're not, when we say analysis paralysis, the analysis is great, but the paralysis, then we don't make any decision because we're overthinking it
It's
and then don't do anything.
Yeah, yeah. It's, what it makes me think of when we talk about it that way, Jess, is the movie Inside Out, where it's
Yeah.
like these emotions, right? So
Yeah.
it's like these things that you do, these habits, if you think about them that way.
Yeah.
And some of them are big and some of them are small, and they all kind of rotate around and they kind of shift. And so it's sort of like thinking about that and like which ones really maybe need to kind of like
Yeah.
quiet a little bit, which other ones maybe need to be a little louder.
Yeah. And I think I have outgrown believing that I am responsible for everyone else's emotions. And so I am no longer over functioning in relationships and for people in my life. And I've talked about that before too, where it has ended some friendships, but has been really freeing. And I can get, it's not like, I can get tripped up in that a little bit of thinking I need, even with like the kids one time, I was talking to my daughter and she was upset and I was trying to do all of these things to make her laugh, talk about it. And she was like, you know what, Mom? I'm just going to be sad right now. And there's nothing you can do about it because I just need to be sad. And I was like, damn, some wisdom dropped on me too of like with our kids. It's like they can, like you're talking about the movie Inside Out, they can experience uncomfortable emotions and be uncomfortable. And I don't need to like take that on and try to make them feel whatever. Like they have to go through that to learn a lesson.
Yeah, yes. And that is sort of like this to me also. I have this habit of like I'm trying to make sure I'm raising a good human. And it's like a
Yeah.
constant thing where it's like just let the kid live. Let them
Yeah.
live a little bit too, and I don't have to, not everything has to be a life lesson. And
Yeah.
I'm really working on that as well, is how do I just sort of be present with my kid and like more regularly than when I'm together think about the things I need them to do or say, especially when you have a lot of time with them. I feel like then I need to even spend even less time in that type of role. So,
Yeah.
so many things I feel like I would like to, so many things I have outgrown, like just
Yeah.
the external validation, right? Or
Yeah.
like what other people think. Oh my goodness. I love that part
Yeah.
about getting older is as we've kind of came into this stage where it's like I'm less concerned about what other people think. I've kind of grown into myself and who I am,
Yeah.
and I'm confident about that. And I don't need others to sort of tell me that, which is really
Yeah.
freeing too.
When I've on this journey of, I wouldn't say it was perfectionism, but maybe there's some perfectionism that's been happening. But the overachiever in me are constantly having to be worthy by producing. So by producing less, I've been more present. So one of the things I think we're talking about as well is when we are letting go of this emotional clutter, it's just like when you're cleaning out your closet, it's creating space for new habits or things that help you thrive. And so by not having to be productive all the time and also like letting go of, hello, you guys, I am barely on social media. Like I have cut out news, social media. So now I have all of this free brain power. And so yesterday I was in my car for 3.5 hours. Yes, it was wonderful. And I wasn't in my car. I had to run children around. And while we were waiting for Dominic, Giovanni and I had 45 minutes. And I said, let's go play. We are waiting for him at this baseball park. And I was like, let's go play. What do we have in the car? I just got my car back, so it's totally empty. We haven't put back in. Like I usually always have like a bat and a wiffle ball and a tennis ball. So Giovanni got like his baseball, a bat, and his glove out. And so I was hitting to him. And then he goes, well, you need a field. And then I was catching the ball and he was like, oh my God, Mom. Like he was like
Like you
impressed
know
that
how
I
to
have
do
any
things.
athletic ability.
My gosh.
But like I know that overproductive Jessica would have had him get his homework out and get his Chromebook out and sit in the car, and I would have my laptop out and I would be getting work done. I'm always doing work or making the kids read or be productive, and it's opened up time for us just to play, right? And so we just like ran
Yeah.
around for a little bit, and I impressed him with my amazing baseball skills.
That's really great. It got me thinking about, speaking of analysis paralysis, I spend so much time. I'm trying to budget, and it's not even necessarily making budget cuts. In some ways it is, but in more ways it's just like my pace of my spend is a lot. And I'm really trying to like reel that in to I don't need
Yeah.
everything all at once.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I'm shopping less, and I'm
Yeah, letting
shopping
go of
less there for
consumerism, right?
my
Like letting yeah.
yes. And my analysis paralysis, right? Of like, oh my gosh, Wes needs a new pair of uniform pants. I need to find this size that can be shipped to come on Wednesday that is under $50. All these parameters where I spend way too long making a decision on stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't, to your point, like it really freed up my time. Like I'm not on Amazon that often.
Yeah.
And I'm only going there looking at something that's like, I need something literally this week. If I need something 2 or 3 weeks from now, I'm not buying it now.
Yeah.
And so it's really trying to change my habits on that because that really wasn't serving me too. It's like, speaking of like things that we're outgrowing, it's like, how are you spending your time, right? That you don't want to be doing. It's consuming something that you
Yeah.
would rather be spent somewhere else.
Yeah, no, totally. I think by that, I have been trying to reduce consumerism and spending just because it doesn't reflect my values. You know what I mean? Like I went through, I don't know if we probably did on a podcast, but like, does your spending reflect your values? And like, I want to travel and I want to do other things with my money. I want to, I want to have experience or go out to dinner.
Yeah.
I don't want
Yes.
10 t-shirts from Amazon. Like that is not, what are you doing
Yeah.
there? Right. And so it's like, I think that's lessened because when you're on social media, I love following fashion and then you keep seeing it over and over and you're like, I got to get these sneakers because that's so cute. Or so then you're like less doing that. And then, so then you have more time and, more money in the bank or like,
Yes.
just kind of, and also letting go, like before we kind of look at the reflection prompts, when we say like letting go of ideas of yourself of like, you and I talked in our 20s, maybe even early 30s, I wanted to like run a nonprofit. You wanted to be at a director level and we wanted to do all these things. And then we had kids and we were like, never mind. I just want to like I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, but I want to be a parent that is present with my kids and I want to pick them up from school. I want to do that. I want to go to their games and pick them up and do those things. And so I am letting go that I was going to like run an empire and I just want to like have my own little business and have,
Mm-hmm.
good balance and work life. And so letting go of what I thought I was going to be doing and embracing something different.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And, when it comes to sort of thinking about this as, identities in a lot of
Hmm.
way that we talk about that we have outgrown, it also, things that we're holding on to. When I think about what I'm holding on to, it's like I hold on to things that I'm associating with my identity. And
Yeah.
so it's like, what are those things that I think about, which I need to sort of like shift and let go of? And I've really
Right.
done a lot of work on that with my kids with sports,
Yeah.
right? Is it sort of like let them have their own journey, let them go through this the way they want to, and listen to them
Yeah.
and respond to that where they are versus driving them beyond that or what other parents are doing, feeling like you have to do the same thing for your kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
That
yeah,
letting go of comparison too.
yes, yeah.
So we have 3 questions for you. Like we tell you so many times, you don't need to immediately journal. Come back to this part later if you want to journal or just sit with these questions, right? So here are the 3 questions we have. What feels heavy but familiar?
What am I afraid will happen if I let this go?
Who would I be without this identity?
So letting go doesn't mean failure. In a lot of ways, I feel like it can mean freedom, but it doesn't happen overnight. So it really
Yeah.
is about evolution.
Yeah. And choosing real over perfect sometimes means grieving the version of you that tried really hard.
Thank you for listening to us today about this topic. This is definitely a shift, not a fix. It's something just to kind of raise and think about. And, if you're thinking, okay, I want to reset something in my life, then this month's free download is perfect for you.
Yes, because it's like we're talking about meeting you where you're at, right? And so you might be trying to organize or reset things and it's not really working. And so that's maybe because you are not tailoring it to your own organizational style. So we created a quiz to help you discover your organizational type because sometimes what we're holding on to is a system that was never right for us in the first place.
And it's free. All you got to do is sign up for the Thrive Guide newsletter at chasingbrighter.com.
Yes. And if you want to see what we're loving, what we're learning, and how we're living a little brighter day by day, come hang out with us on social media at Chasing Brighter. Thanks for spending part of your day with us.